callers who are responsible for their content and do not reflect the opinions of In Touch Radio or its staff.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Angela Birdsong, and you are listening to Tampa Bay Politics. We are so happy that you're here. And you may know that during the week, I am the Medicare lady. I help people with health insurance, also Medicaid. And I have another lady here where healthcare is near and dear to her heart as well. She's out there in the community fighting for people to have healthy options, alternatives when it comes to healthcare. So we have with us Antoinette Davis of Envision Revolution. Hi, Antoinette.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. How are we doing today?
Good. All right. So you know what? We always start from the beginning. All right. Where were you born?
All right. So let's jump right in to talk about me. Well, I come to Tampa by way of New York.
Really? I didn't know you were a New Yorker.
And through or from Miami. So
Okay.
starting at New York as a birthplace and raised in Miami. So
Okay,
I like
we
to say
consider Miami, New York in the sunshine.
I like to say that I'm from Miami. That is definitely my stomping ground, and has really shaped me to be the person that I am today.
All right. So how did you end up here then?
Well, I tell you, moved here. I'll tell you the long version of this story because I think it's very interesting. But like most kids in high school, I was skipping class. And they used to have a thing where we could sign up when colleges came to do presentations. And I had no intentions in really going to the presentation, but I signed up so I could skip class. And on my way to doing what I was wanting to do, I had to stop by to get my pass, to say that I was at this college presentation. It was USF that day.
Really?
At my school.
USF.
And I met Dr. Sam Wright.
He was there in person.
He was there in person. I tell you, I listened to him for 5 minutes. And that's how
And he turned it
I ended up.
around.
He turned it around for me. I ended up here in Tampa because I came to USF.
That is an amazing story because he has had years in education at USF, and then he went to HCC. So I'm sure that you are one of the many lives that he changed.
Yes, absolutely. And that was way back in 1997.
And then what did you end up studying?
I studied at USF accounting. So I got a business degree in accounting.
Wow.
Yes.
And you know what's the wonderful thing about a business degree, especially with that accounting factored in, you will never be without a job.
Yes, absolutely.
You want to count numbers, you're good. Everybody needs that. Every business.
Yes. And I think the degree at USF for any business degree you get is really all inclusive. So you have to learn your marketing, you have to learn your finance, you have to learn about economics, and of course accounting. So you really get all the skills that you need to venture out to many different things in business. And I would say for myself, while I never did practice accounting, and I'll tell you a little bit about why that is, being able to start my own business has really helped me to lean on my skills with accounting. So the tax information that I received and thinking about marketing and management and all that kind of stuff definitely has helped in my entrepreneurial path that I am on now.
Now, somewhere along the way, you got married. You met someone special.
I sure did.
When did that happen?
Well, right after I finished my 4th year at USF, I met my now husband, Casey Davis. And I studied for my 5th year so I can prepare to sit for the CPA. And everything just kind of kicked off for us. I had always committed to myself that once I started to have children that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And Casey and I kind of got busy right away, got married. 9 months later, we was having our first son, Casey Davis II.
And how many have you had since then?
Yeah, so that's the story of my life. Every year and a half, I was having another baby for 7 years. So
So that
five kids.
5 kids.
Yes,
That's
yes.
amazing. And they're pretty much grown now, huh?
The baby girl is 13. Started high school this year at Armwood High School doing their collegiate program, which means that she's getting her AA degree and her high school diploma.
That's wonderful. And I bet you none of your kids are going to think about dropping out.
Oh no,
No,
we,
no.
we don't give them that option. In fact, we invested for several years for them to be homeschooled. So a part of my journey includes that I'm a retired homeschool educator because they're all in high school and college at this point. But we really took the time to invest in them to teach them reading through phonics, which is something that I think our Hillsborough County school system should consider. But
They're not doing phonics? What are they
they
doing?
don't do phonics. When I pulled my kids out, they were doing sight words and learning words by memorization and things like that.
Oh.
So
I
that
like
phonics
that.
route, yeah, really helps
I think you should be
kids
able to sound out a word.
to decode words and
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. And I really felt like their grammar knowledge, being able to write and particularly read, is going to help support their learning. So we
Yes.
invested in homeschooling them for several years. So
Did you teach them a little thing called cursive?
I sure did. Yes, we used the
I
ABECA
think people
curriculum.
need that too.
Yes, we use the ABECA curriculum, which includes handwriting, and cursive is a part of that.
All right. So, somewhere along the way, you got involved in advocacy. Could that be through your church?
It is, in fact, and my church, Bible-based Fellowship Church in Carewood, is where I met Casey.
Oh, that you met in church.
We met at
Okay.
church. Yes.
Guess what? I used to go to Bible Base when I first came to Tampa, Florida.
Right. All right. It's a great look. It's a great church.
It's a great place, yeah.
Yeah, to be. It was definitely where I found home and my connection and belonging. Coming from Miami, I was like, Tampa is too slow. Like, where are the people? Where are the black folks at?
I know. That was a little black haven
So yes,
in
yes.
Carrollwood. It
I
wasn't-
know.
Yes.
Yes, a friend of mine took me there, and I have been going ever since. So met Casey at Bible Base.
What does
and
Casey do?
We are entrepreneurs.
Okay.
So he's a consultant, and he does tax consulting, and we do real estate investment. So
Okay.
that's a really big part of our residual income that we have. But yeah, so we work for ourselves, set our own schedule, grind when we got to grind, and vacationing is a big part of our lives as well.
Okay. So, at some point, you got involved in advocacy. What was the first thing that, you really started getting involved with?
Well, back in 2015, our pastor, our founding pastor, passed away. So our Reverend Arthur T. Jones passed away, and our new pastor, Dr. Anthony C. White, decided to rekindle our justice ministry in the community, because Pastor Jones, he was on every political scene, every speaking out and making sure that people were engaged civically. So our church had a legacy to consider, and making sure that we were out in the community engaging around our civic responsibilities. So he had asked me to lead the justice ministry, and that work has really led me into the advocacy that I continue to do today.
So, you ended up being on their justice ministry group.
Yeah, I actually was the director of justice ministry. So more than just being a part, it was a part of my responsibility to carry out the pastor's vision and to
Okay.
lead our leaders in doing justice ministry.
So, how many people did you end up having in the ministry, in that particular ministry?
Well, we had a leadership team of 6 people that worked alongside myself, and we have had over 100 folks in our justice ministry. And one of the things that we do in the ministry is that we have what we call a network. So those hundreds of folks that have participated, a part of their responsibility is to engage their network. So we know that a network is really to be thought of by way of what's your reach, right? How many people can you leverage through the folks that you network with? So over the years,
they say, I think this is even before Facebook and social media, that an average person has about 300 people in their network.
right? Yeah,
Yeah. When you
Yeah.
talk about who you went to school with, your church, your work,
yeah.
your family,
Neighbors,
your
yeah.
neighbors, your friends. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been really the success of our justice ministry, is that we're not just empowering those in the ministry, but empowering them to reach to their network to make things happen.
Okay, that's wonderful. When are we having a break, producer? In 2 minutes. Okay, so we can start talking about Envision Revolution.
Yes. So we talked about me being a part of the justice ministry. And I want to say a little bit more about that before we get into
All right.
Envision Resolution. But the justice ministry has been for several years a part of an organization called Hope. So that means that we don't do our work together, but we have several other, in fact, 25 congregations within the membership of Hope. And we do justice work alongside those other ministries.
All right, let's talk about Hope. Does that stand for something?
Yes, it is an acronym. Thank you for asking that question. It's an acronym that stands for Hillsborough Organization for Progress and Equality.
Okay. Now, do they say something about Nehemiah Action?
Yeah, that's our annual, Nehemiah Action is our annual event that we have to bring the whole community, so not just people in the faith community, but all people, to engage with our public officials around topics like affordable housing, mental health, criminal justice, and really it's an evening like we see in the book of Nehemiah. So it's actually a biblical based for the name Nehemiah Action, but the book of Nehemiah chapter 5, Nehemiah calls what they said a large assembly, and he calls those officials out for the injustices that they are doing. And so we're modeling after that biblical model, and we invite our Board of County Commission, City Council, Sheriff, Chief of Police, school
Candidates,
board members.
I've been there.
Yeah, yeah, we've had you to attend as well. Yes. But we really get into it in regards to the issues that are unjust in our county, and not just to talk about it, but to ask for a particular action. Thus, the name Nehemiah Action.
I see. Because I always wondered what the Nehemiah meant. So I'm glad that you clarified that for us. And I'm always, just amazed and really so thankful for the work that Hope has done. Because number one, they got the county commission to give $10 million per year towards affordable housing. We're going to talk about that because we have some Republicans that reduced it to $2 million. But they also talk about social justice issues, criminal justice, like biking while black, civil citations. They had the state attorney there. And when we had Andrew Warren, he was
2 times duly elected state attorney.
The 2-time duly elected state attorney that that the governor removed. Yeah, we can't get over Andrew Warren, but he's coming back. He's coming back. So we're going to break now, and we're going to talk about Hope and Envision Revolution. Okay.
In Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Angela Birdsong, and during the week, they call me the Medicare lady. I help people successfully transition onto Medicare, sometimes Medicaid. I also help people with life insurance, long-term care insurance, and annuities. Please do not try to navigate Medicare without me. It's complicated. 813-476-4837.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecue? Come see them two brothers on the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. You need medical or a lawyer? I got the man to do the legwork for you. We tried the other ones before, so believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pin of sundown. 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward, just recline. Just ask Ricky, plus your boy stay fine. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RICK. Call Ricky, ask Ricky is a legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and giving you the best medical treatment and recovery. Now, 184-361-RICK. That's 184-361-7425. Ricky.
It has business cards in it. It's brown. It's like,
Ask Ricky.
there you go.
We're playing your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. You're listening to In Touch Radio.
Hello. You are back with Tampa Bay Politics. I'm your host, Angela Birdsong. And, during the week, I actually help people with Medicare, life insurance, Medicaid. So being a health professional, I know how important healthcare is to people's lives. Also, I would say education on diet, exercise. We know that unfortunately a lot of people who are suffering from diabetes, which has become an epidemic, end-stage renal failure, which is becoming more and more prevalent in the Black community, I'm sorry to say, and of course cancer, are all helped by two things: diet and exercise. And then the other thing is seeing a doctor regularly, because we want to catch things early.
Yes.
If you catch it early, the chances of success are much better.
Yeah.
And of course, with diabetes, you have to keep it under control. Yeah. So there are a lot of, and there are people, of course, who are born with type 1, who were born diabetics, but we're seeing a lot more type 2.
Yeah.
So I'm so happy to have in the house with me today Antoinette Davis. She has made her passion healthcare, and letting people know that, we have some systematic ways that healthcare has not reached the Black community. Yeah. And we have a lot of maternal health issues now, too. So we're so glad to have you.
Well, thank you for giving me an opportunity to really speak on this topic. Before we went to the break, we were talking about the justice ministry work that we're doing with HOPE, that is Hillsborough Organization for Progress and Equality. And many of the issues that we have worked on in justice ministry with HOPE are what we call in the public health arena the social determinants of health.
Okay.
So those social determinants are things like housing, access to health care, having an affordable wage, a livable wage where they can buy their groceries, having access to healthy food. We know that throughout the county there are several food deserts where
Yes.
people can't walk and have access to healthy food. But transportation, all of these different things are what we call in the public health sphere social determinants of health. And so while we've been advocating for systemic solutions to make opportunities equal and accessible to all, really our health and well-being, as you said, comes down to us making some personal choices as well. So I started an organization in 2022 called Envision Resolution. And we are really asking people to join the movement, to really think about health and wellness from a holistic perspective. And not only from a holistic perspective, but one that would cause you to have an ongoing engagement, thinking about and pursuing information so that you are both healthy and well. And really, do the hard work that comes along with that, personal accountability, and then of course, the core of what we do is advocacy. So our theory of change is OPA. That's what we call it. Ongoing engagement, personal accountability, and advocacy. And so we are working in places of worship. So we started out in the church, and we've expanded that to include barbershops, hair salons, community centers, and gyms. And we put this poster up, and it really speaks to the change that we're hoping to create in our community. So we are providing an opportunity for folks to have ongoing engagement within a community. So wherever you get your hair cut, that can now become a place where you can access health information, we have a physician that is working with us, so she's coming out to the barbershops and hair salons with us, and she is willing to see people with little insurance, no insurance, or
Well, who would this
or who's
doctor
fully
be?
insured. Dr. Tracy.
Dr. Tracy.
Dr. Tracy.
And you know what's great about her office? It's right in Seminole Heights. It's very accessible.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure some people can even walk to her office.
Yes. So I think taking some of her services into those spaces where people already are is going to really be a game changer, because what we're doing on a monthly basis is at your barbershop or hair salon, you can get vital sign checks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know what their blood pressure is, whether it's high, low, or
One of the silent
or
killers.
normals.
Yes. You could be walking around with high blood pressure for quite a while, and before it gets you.
Yeah. And suddenly you could have a stroke.
Yes.
Suddenly you can have a heart attack. And unfortunately,
It's hard on the kidneys too.
yeah, in our community, we're seeing more and more, like you said, diabetes and heart disease and maternal mortality rates are up. And not only mortality, but morbidity, meaning that the children end up taking on some of those poor health outcomes that the mothers
Including
have.
obesity.
Yeah. And so we are really trying to do all that we can in the community to make this message of health and wellness one that is attractive.
Now, if someone is sitting home and they have a barbershop, can they contact you and have you come on by?
Sure, absolutely. So we are actively trying to recruit and identify as many locations as we can. This is a model working with the USF students and with Dr. Tracy's office that we can duplicate and have at many locations.
Now, how would they contact you?
Well, we have 2 locations that we're at right now, and with the poster, there's a QR code on there that says "Scan to join," and if you scan it, that will put you in direct contact with me. So we have the Boys to Men's Barbershop right now that we're working with, and they're in Sulphur Springs. And we also have Sheer Excellence, which is off of Bush Boulevard, right off of 46th Street. And so those are the 2 locations we have right now. The the posters are up, you scan. Once you put in your information, we'll contact you and we can go from there.
What's that one? Fade Masters? They got a lot of locations. We got to get hold of them.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can make an introduction, or if any of your listeners can make introductions, by all means, let's make it happen.
And then the beauty salons. Do you have any beauty salons that you're in?
I have a few. We started with a few that have agreed to join us. We started with the men.
Okay, but you don't have the women yet.
We have locations that have agreed to do it, but we haven't started implementing our services at the salons yet. We
Okay, where
started
they
with
can
the
actually
men.
get vital signs
Right.
taken and things
Right,
like that.
that's correct.
I gotcha.
That's correct. But we are going to, well, the statistic tells us that men are the ones
I
who
see.
are less likely to access
Healthcare.
Healthcare, yes. And so we've started with the men, but the model is going to include opportunities for women at their salons as well.
You know, it would be good if you can somehow mix it in with healthy food, because I've had people say, you know, that organic food is expensive. Well, I say, you know what? A case of diabetes is expensive. A case of cancer is very expensive.
Yes.
So it may seem like you're cutting back on the food bill, but it's better you go someplace like Aldi's or Sprouts, get good healthy food, and pay less.
Yeah. And, you know, a part of our advocacy is to say to Aldi's, you have to come in our communities.
Yes,
Sometimes
true,
people
true.
don't have transportation.
Aldi's
to,
is in the university area.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm noticing. I think that they're building a Sprout on.
Oh, they have a Sprouts now in the university area.
Right over there where the
Yes.
mall is. They're building
At
it.
University Mall. It's open.
Yeah, so a lot of that
Yes.
is, you know, I just wanted people to know a lot of that happens because people are advocating
Yes,
for
for
these
good
kinds of
food.
things. Because we really have to have the same amenities in the university area, in the East Tampa area, that we have in Carewood and New Tampa and South Tampa, you know, so that we can
Yes,
all
it's
be,
true. It's
as a
true.
community, a healthy community.
Because, you know, everybody can't shop at Publix.
Mm-hmm.
It's outrageous what the prices have gone to now. But if you go in a Sprouts, you will save money on your food bill. If you go into Aldi's, I mean,
Yeah.
and the food is healthy. Aldi's has decided that all their produce is going to be organic, but they happen to be Europeans. And in Europe, you actually don't have GMOs. They don't allow it. Okay, and they don't allow bad food in the system, in their food system.
And that's really, I think, speaking about the investment that the government makes in the lives of the citizens. Last year, my husband and I, as we do annually, we go away for our anniversary, which is December the 17th. So every year we go away, and we went to Aruba.
Okay.
And we was doing a tour, and the tour guide was taking us around the whole island and kind of just explaining, you know, the different parts and things, the culture and things pertaining to that area. And he had shared with us, you will not see a homeless person,
Really?
no one on drugs. You will not experience no crime here.
Interesting.
And I was like, wow, that's really remarkable. And he said that our government has assured they will take people who from the streets with drug addiction, whatever, and they will get them treatment because they want Aruba to be known to the world as a safe place to come to vacation, because a lot of their economy depends on tourism.
That's absolutely true.
And so it's clean, and, you know, people have a certain status of life there. It's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. So if you haven't been, I recommend that you go and check it out.
I actually went to Venezuela and Margarita Island because I'm actually half South American. But yeah, half my family is from Guyana. So Venezuela and Guyana share a border. But that's very interesting to hear, because they're ruled, as far as I know, by the Dutch. So that could be a Dutch way of thinking.
Yeah, and so I think as we consider how we live here in Hillsborough County,
Yes.
We need to just realize that it doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have
It
to be
does
this
not
way.
have to be this way. People shouldn't be uninsured. We shouldn't not have food deserts. And that's really the heart of the advocacy that we do, is to really lift up that there are other ways. There are other examples that we can find.
Well, you know, we have a problem here in the United States. It's called greed. And the greed factor has infiltrated our politics, our health. I mean, those health insurers have a huge lobby in Washington, okay? All those prescription drugs. Yeah, so they want to keep people on drugs.
Yeah, it's our system is constantly focusing on the have and the have-nots.
Yes.
And that's how we keep doing it all over again. But, you know, so a lot of our work in advocacy really is pushing the people to be empowered for us to push back on some of the conditions that we have here. And voting is a really, really big part of that, because the folks who are in position to make decisions on our behalf, we elect them.
And, you know, I hate to say it, but the people who are poor and are really affected by these decisions don't feel the need to vote, don't have the time to vote. I mean, we really should have at least one day in America where you can vote, and it's a national holiday. So it's really tough. It's really tough. If we could get the poor to vote, it would change the world.
It would. And it could start in Hillsborough County.
It could start right here where we are. All right, it's time for us to break, and we're going to talk more about voting and how it affects healthcare.
Tell a friend to listen in. It's In Touch Radio, reality radio.
You've been injured. You deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Parrish from the Law Office of Clinton Parrish. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Parrish, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parishlawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Parrish, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
Hello, welcome back to Tampa Bay Politics. I'm your host, Angela Birdsong, and in the house with me, I have the president, founder, CEO, all that, of Envision Resolution. Her name is Antoinette Davis, and her passion is healthcare. Okay, so let's talk about voting, especially in Hillsborough County, Florida, and how it's affecting healthcare.
Yeah. I think that people don't realize, I talked earlier about the social determinants of health, but people don't realize how all those social factors, we talked about housing and having access to health care, healthy food, all of those things impact your health. And back in 2020, when our Board of County Commission passed a resolution to declare racism a public health crisis,
Which your group was responsible for that.
Thank you. That was one of our signature accomplishments, that we worked with the Board of County Commission to get that done. But we really began a journey of educating people to help them understand that housing is healthcare. Transportation is healthcare, right? So that we can really begin to issue what kind of education system you have or don't have affects your health.
Yes.
So all of those social factors really play a part in how we live and how healthy we are. And so thinking about health from a holistic perspective then can help us begin to really understand these issues enough to really get behind how we should vote. So we talked about the power of voting. One of the really, really big things that we accomplished, you mentioned earlier, was that we got the Board of County Commission to create the Hope Affordable Housing Fund. And a part of that ordinance said that they would have to fund the fund $10 million a year. And in this current budget cycle, we had Republican Board of County Commission members, first of all, pass initiative or a motion was made to defund the Affordable Housing Fund from $10 million to $0.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
Yes, so that's where the issue started. So Commissioner Owens in District 4, he made the motion to reduce the fund to $0. And then he got a second by Commissioner Wassel. And so that was so shocking. It was so many community members there who had pleaded with them to share with them the need for affordable housing and how there's such inflation
it's
going
just
on right now.
amazing that you would have to even convince anyone that we have an affordable housing crisis
Yes.
in Hillsborough County.
Right. And we had people telling stories about how children are homeless, giving statistics about how it's impacting their education, that they don't have homes. A lot of our Hillsborough County students are living in hotels.
That's right. And
living in cars. And they had just people with disabilities that came to speak.
The disabled, the elderly.
The elderly, yes. So there was a robust pushback to them defunding it. And after listening to all of the concerns of the citizens, the motion was made to reduce the fund to $0. And then I can really commend our our Democrat representatives, and they fought and fought and fought.
So we have Commissioner Pat Kemp.
Yes, Commissioner Pat Kemp.
We have Harry Cohen.
Yes.
And we have Gwen Myers.
Yes, they all three of them fought and fought and fought. They continue to make motions to keep the affordable housing. Pat Kemp, actually, Commissioner Pat Kemp made a motion to double the fund to $20 million. And she had made that recommendation based on the fact that the state of Florida currently has a matching program.
I see.
And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity
and we're gonna miss out on that.
Who are investing in affordable housing that they would match because of some funding that they receive.
I see.
And it's a competitive process, so the counties who are investing locally in their affordable housing, they can get that fund leveraged, and the state will match it. And so she was saying this is the 1 year that we should consider doubling our fund for affordable housing, considering the inflation and the need that we have here in Hillsborough County. And they did not consider that option.
Wow.
And she pleaded and pleaded with them to consider that. So I can definitely commend our Democrat representatives. And I'll tell you, one of the things that keeps playing in my head, and I don't think it should be playing in my head, but it continues to play in my head when Commissioner Myers pointed out that the county administrator gave the commissioners an option for them to keep the $10 million in affordable housing and to also have $10 million for, wait for it. The Republicans wanted the $10 million to build jails.
Oh my gosh.
more jails in Hillsborough County. Not housing, jails. And other infrastructure projects. And so a part of the comments that I made that night is, why do we have to choose between infrastructure and housing? Don't we need both? And so the county administrator gave them an option so that they could have both. $10 million for their projects, $10 million for affordable housing. And the motion was made to defund the housing from $10 million to $2 million. And for them to have $8 million for their project. So let me say that again. They was being offered $10 million for their project.
Yes.
And they accepted $8 million so that they can defund the affordable housing.
Now, the only thing I can think of is when I think of Republicans, it has to do with money and greed. And they are in the pocket of developers. And all these developers want to do is build big houses that cost a lot of money. They have no interest at all in the poor because they don't feel they're going to make a lot of money on affordable housing. They have no conscience.
Well, I tell you, Commissioner Owens is up for re-election in 2024. And the people that were speaking out and that board meeting was saying, if you don't vote for us, meaning to renew the affordable housing, we won't vote for you. And people after people came up and was saying, we're watching the vote tonight. So in 2024, Commissioner Owens is up for re-election, and so is Commissioner Hagan. So there's two of those commissioners that voted no for affordable housing that we do have the opportunity to choose someone else.
And we also know that Pat Kemp is going to be retiring. She's on her second cycle, so she'll be retiring. So we're going to need someone for her seat. So Mariella Smith has stepped up, and I feel good that she can definitely hold out, win that seat. And she's a great and she loves affordable housing. So so hopefully we can get Mariella on there. And I want to tell you, we need a candidate for District 2.
We do.
We need one.
And we also need a candidate for District 4 as well.
Okay,
so people think that you can't win. Democrats can't win in District 4.
All right, let's talk about District 4. That's what we call South Shore, Riverview, Waimama, Sun City.
Plant City.
Not Plant.
Yep, Plant City. I looked up the map
last night. District 4?
Yes. I'll show you the picture of it on my phone. I didn't print it out. I printed out District 2.
All right.
But yes.
So these are some red areas, all right, that are leaning red. However, we have had some different demographics moving into those areas lately.
We have. All of the gentrification has sent people to South County.
They show them South Tampa, and you see the prices. And guess what they say? Well, no, why don't you look a little further south, like Riverview? So we have military people. We have people who have come in from New York, Philadelphia, all these places. They like to retire where? In Florida. Okay.
No taxes.
And they got the land out there, and there's some beautiful homes out there. And if you're coming into this state with money, you can afford those homes. And we have a lot of black professionals who have chosen to live out there. We've had people who were displaced from Seminole Heights. They're living out there now.
Yeah.
So, we got to always look at what's going on now.
I think you got to take a look at it. You have to take a look at it and find the strategy. Because here's the thing. Commissioner Owens was elected to that seat unopposed.
Yeah, he was. He had a primary, but the primary was kind of weak.
He beat his primary opponent, and then the Democrats didn't have anybody.
Yes.
And so if we don't even try by not putting a candidate up. And so here's the thing that I want to explore with your listeners and for you to consider as well for District 4. Will the people who are saying that they want certain things within their representative, because Commissioner Owens kept saying, I am doing this because my constituents have said to me that they want me to focus on infrastructure, jails, firehouses, roads. This is what they want.
They don't want no poor people moving in. That's what they're saying. They don't want no affordable housing in their district.
So I tell you, that night when they took that vote to defund the affordable housing, there were persons who were from his constituents. I can't mention names, but high-level firefighters were there, and they talked to us afterwards and said, yes, they want infrastructure, but
not at the price. Not at that price
of taking away the affordable housing.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering if we can't put a candidate up that would be moderate enough to say that I'm going to work in the middle.
That's what we need out there.
Yeah.
That's what we need. Because you will have white people who will vote for a black person out there. Mm-hmm. You have moderate Republicans who might vote for a good Democrat. So, yeah. I mean, it could be done. We just got to find, it all begins with
yes,
the right candidate.
Got to find the right candidate. And I was looking up some numbers to know that Commissioner Owens won his primary election with 40,000 votes.
Yeah. Nobody really was paying attention to that, I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, so this is going to be a presidential election year, so we know that the turnout is going to be more.
Yes.
Right? And so I'm just wondering if we don't have an opportunity, but hey, in my network, I'm asking people every day, you want to run for office?
Yes.
You want to run for office? We can help start today.
So listen, sororities, fraternities, Georgia Edgecombe Bar Association. I'm the president of the Democratic Black Caucus. I want you to start looking because we know you got good people out there, 100 black women, 100 black men. You know who the good people are.
Yeah.
I will say that you must live in that district to run.
Yes.
Okay, so it is not a county-wide seat. So that narrows it down a little bit.
Yeah,
but
it does.
there should be some good people out there that could do it.
Yeah,
military men.
Think about District 2. That's Carrollwood. That's New Tampa. That's all the way down through the Sassa, where I live. Right? That's a large area.
That's a very large area.
That's a large area.
I know there's somebody in New Tampa. My God.
Yeah.
All of Carrollwood, Lutz, Temple Terrace.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got to have a good candidate in District 2.
District 2.
Yeah.
Sean Shaw is going to run, but he decided not to, unfortunately. But we need somebody.
Yeah, we need somebody. Those seats should not go unopposed, particularly when you have these representatives defunding affordable housing to build jails.
And guess what? Wostel is a one-man wrecking team. He wants to defund all nonprofits that are doing good work for people. He wants to defund the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. Did you hear that yet? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. This he says it has a very big reserve of $300 million, so he wants to get his hands on that.
Wow.
And we have 15,000 people on the Hillsborough County Healthcare Plan. We're very proud of that plan. It's very well run. And if you make too much to be on Medicaid, you can go on that plan because we don't have Medicaid expansion in Florida.
Yeah, we don't because of our governor, which is another voting
another
voting issue. But answer this question for me because I know at one time folks were talking about those who are returning citizens.
Yes.
Can they get on that Hillsborough County health plan? Do you know?
They can.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and they definitely once they come out of incarceration, they can get health care.
Okay,
they're in a special enrollment period, and they definitely can get health care.
Yeah, so we want everybody out there really to know that there are options. There's the Hillsborough County health plan, there's Medicaid, and there's Obamacare.
And Obamacare is opening up November the 1st.
Yes. So make sure that you do what you can to connect with Angela.
Yes.
And with
I'm
others.
now an Obamacare agent.
Yes.
And a Medicare agent.
Yes, to get your health care.
813-476-4837. 813-476-4837.
Yeah, and I was going to say, see us at one of those barbershops that we're at, because we have Dr. Tracy, who's also, she sees people with no insurance, and makes sure that it's affordable for you.
Yeah, Dr. Tracy is listed. Yeah, I believe she's on Florida or Nebraska.
She is.
I always get those two mixed up. But she's very findable. All you have to do is type in Dr. Traci.
Right.
Yes. And she has made her passion to help the poor with health care.
Yes. So there's no reason, guys, why we can't be healthy and we can't lock
be on
in
insurance.
Yeah, lock in as a community to make sure that we are well. Right.
I did want to mention that the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare, has special enrollment periods, which means if you recently had a baby, you're in. They have now one for low income, so I think it's like around $21,000. If you put that in there, you can be a low income person and get on Obamacare. You lost your health care, you can get on Obamacare. You lost your job. Yeah. So the Obamacare is open for you right now if you fall in one of those special enrollment periods.
Yes. We definitely have to do this, folks, because one of the things after COVID that my colleagues and I were looking at is lessons learned after COVID. And one of the really, really, really big lessons learned is that communities that are susceptible are more susceptible because they have the underlying conditions.
Absolutely. COVID just ran rampant through the Black community, who suffers from diabetes, obesity. I hate to say it, but yes.
Yeah, and we don't have to do that. There's a group of our folks who are doing these community gardenings.
You know what? We all gonna be growing our food soon.
Yeah.
The food is outrageous. Okay. And Michelle Obama was helping people to garden. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
She was getting people to get back into gardening. And I think, and we know what's the wonderful thing about Florida? Everything grows.
Yeah, I was going to say that people think about agricultural spaces. Like I live in Thanota-Sassa, and I always tell people my neighbors have cows.
Okay, so
but
they got milk.
And you don't have to live in those areas. My sister lives in Sulphur Springs, and she is growing her vegetables in her front yard out of pots.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's all kind of new techniques and things that people are doing. So come check us out at the barbershops and let's talk about how we can.
And you know what? There's actually a place on Dale Mabry, I think it's called Roots, and they will show you how to grow food. I mean, and they have these earth gardens, which is just boxes.
Yeah.
You could grow it on your balcony.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're growing food in New York, so if you know. If you people on their balconies, they have
earth boxes.
Yeah.
Right. So they'll and I went into the store and I said, "Can I buy some plants?" He said, "Look, there's a lot of things you can grow from a seed in Florida."
Yeah.
I mean, you put that thing in the ground and you water it, you're gonna get some vegetables.
Yeah. When I was coming up, mango trees was a big thing for us in Miami.
Okay.
And it's so amazing now that you can't even, a mango is hard to come by.
Well, they are there for a price.
Yeah, well.
I bought some yesterday, some Mexican mangoes. But, yeah, we really are going to have to start growing food. Now, is this our last segment? Oh, my goodness. So this is your chance to wrap up and tell us what you want to tell us about Envision Revolution. Any events you have coming up or what people can do?
Yeah. We have this workshop. I got a flyer here also to share in addition to our poster. But we have a workshop where we partnered with the Sulphur Springs Community School to really teach the community how their social factors really play a part in their health. That day will have resources for people to access so that if they need to find out how to be connected with job opportunities, with healthcare opportunities, with healthy food opportunities. They can come out and really connect with us to get some education and empowerment.
Well, I want to be there. The Black Caucus wants to be there.
Okay, well, let's make it happen. We'll be right there at the school on November the 4th from 10 to 3 o'clock.
Sulphur Springs Community School, 8412 North 13th Street, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Sulphur Springs Community School.
Yes.
right.
So if you can't make it out to that, as I mentioned earlier, we have the 2 barbershops that we're working with, and that's Boys to Men's Barbershop on Florida Avenue in Sulphur Springs, and the Sheer Excellence Barbershop on Bush, right off of 46th Street. So we look to see folks there. But
It's a very good start.
yeah. And we'll be doing more if you have me back.
All
We'll be
right.
able to give some updates with some more locations for the women eventually, and talk about how we went into the youth centers to reach families as well.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to be posting the flyer for this public health crisis event. So you can be educated, empowered, and engaged, as it says on the flyer here, at the Sulphur Springs Community School. That's at 8412 North 13th Street, November the 4th, 10 a.m. to 3. Get out there and please share this information. A lot of people don't know that right now they can be on Obamacare. We have a health care plan in Hillsborough County. If they tell you no to Medicaid, do not walk away uninsured. We have options for you. 813-476-4837. I help people get on health care every day.
Yeah. Go
So-
see Dr. Tracy, right?
And see Dr. Tracy.
Yes.
Yes. You know, we always need those doctors who will see you because they have a heart. You know, we know they want to get paid, but you know, she's been very successful in her career and she's given back, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so I think we're out of here. See you next time on Tampa Bay Politics.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously.